And it has to be said, a legitimate chance to reach the World Series. Because the two teams that are coming in, they've won the season series against both the Red Sox and the Yankees. Own the Yankees this year. Good matchup. I mean, Seattle will be a tough piece of business if they have to face them in the CS. But there is a real path. So it's pretty exciting times. And opening night for the Toronto Maple Leafs across from Game 4 of the ALDS. I'd definitely be watching every moment and doing an in-depth Leafs talk after that.
Right? That's
yes, sir. Yes, sir. October 8th.
They're the Jays. Wouldn't they give them like an 11 a.m. start?
Yeah, no, but they're maybe playing the Yankees, so then they'll get the prime time.
In a few minutes, we'll welcome in Elliot Friedman, Hockey Night in Canada, 32 Thoughts, celebrated his 65th birthday on the weekend.
What the hell?
All right.
No.
What the hell are you talking
How old
about?
is Elliot?
You just missed by a decade.
How old is he?
He's 55.
Oh, is he 55? That's it?
Oh,
come
my
on now.
God.
Okay.
I'll never ask him to come on again. You're embarrassing.
No. Great job. Did you bring in the cupcake Saturday night?
I did not. Well, I think was it Matt Marstrom? Hillary brought him in. It was lovely. A little red velvet, vanilla icing.
Plenty to get into with the insider, Elliot Friedman, including a signing by the Toronto Maple Leafs, one that probably felt a little bit more urgent with the news that Joseph Wall is
what?
gone, left the hockey club with no feel, and we'll get into this with Elliot on a possible return.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, this is a great contract. And I understand the concerns about age and longevity. You know, he hasn't played all these games, whatever, but he was paid as a result of those things, right? If he played, led the NHL in save percentage last year. If he played 60 games, he'd be worth $10 million.
Yeah.
You know, so you're saving a lot of money in the fact that you're only going to get him half the time. And he gets a little security in terms of years. They get a good deal.
I mean, you see the number, right? And I got to be honest, I'm trying hard to come up with like a zag on why this potentially could have, be bad at all. And I just can't come up with anything.
Like if his knees are shredded cheese, he's just on LTIR.
It's 4 years. It's 3.75. It's a totally palatable number for a guy who's going to play half the game. I don't know. I thought it was awesome. But Elliot's it.
Good dude.
Okay, let's welcome him in. Hockey Night in Canada's very own Elliot Friedman. Elliot, thanks for joining us, man. How are you? You recovered off your wild weekend of celebrating a birthday?
Yeah, I got news for you, Nick. Those weekends aren't that wild anymore. Those days are long over. Long over. I'm too old for that now.
We just moments ago talked about the Stolarz contract. Let's start there with you, Elliot. Just in terms of where it ended up, I would imagine the ask was a little higher over the stretch of the negotiations from the Stolarz camp. They settle in on an AAV, which probably surprised a few people, being under $4 million. But I imagine that was the carrot for the Leafs to dangle the fourth year on.
Yeah, Nick, I think it's pretty clear here now, just talking to as many people as I could, that the key number for Stolarz in his rep was Atlanta Wall was $15 million. Like, let's try to get to 15 and let's see how we divvy it up. And I think the Leafs had a lot of say in how they got to that number and how it was all going to work. And I obviously, like, the reaction, when I saw the reaction to the deal, you know, the Leaf fans were ecstatic. And I'm sure the Maple Leafs felt similar in the sense that if you look at a lot of the deals they've done with Tanev, with Tavares, they've stretched out the dollars over term to, you know, limit some of the damage to them potentially. Like for Toronto, especially with the cap going up, it's only money, right? So they don't have the same, they're not encumbered the same way they used to be. They've got a lot more flexibility. And, you know, I heard you guys talking, and with whatever injury concerns you may have with Stolarz, if it gets bad for whatever reason, this contract isn't going to hurt them. Like, this is not going to be a deal where they're going to be looking to trade and say, what are we going to have to give up to move this deal? I don't think it's going to hurt them that much at all. And obviously you can see why Stolarz would be happy with it. It's the longest contract he's had since his ELC. Of course he's going to love that kind of security.
Yeah, fans in Toronto love getting a deal on a guy. It puts them in a good position to earn their favor on top of his great year last season. So I'm looking at the cap page. Here I'm on cap wages right now. Next year, him and Joseph Woll will earn a combined $7.4 million, which I believe is about 19th in total cap hit in the NHL right now. This year, it's $6.1 million combined. Going into this year, it's like, God, they have a cheap, wonderful goalie tandem. We think. What do we think? What do we know, or what are you hearing about the potential for them having both goalies fairly soon?
Justin, the only thing we know is that we don't know, and to be honest, I'm not sure the Maple Leafs know yet either. I think they were, this is something that came up pretty quickly, I think, and I think everybody's still trying to grasp the timeline without being intrusive in terms of they asked for privacy and the player requested privacy, and I think people are trying to respect that. And the only thing I can tell you I'm asking is there any indication for when he's going to be able to return? And as we were preparing for our exhibition broadcast on Saturday night, the responses I was getting were simply, they don't know. And so I just think, I think they're hoping for maybe a timeline at the start of the season, just so that they have an understanding of what they're dealing with. But as of the weekend, Justin, the answer was they don't know. And I think too, the interesting thing is going to be, like I saw today, they left Reimer with the Marley group kind of to get some work, and you expect he's going to play one of these two games against Detroit this week. The question to me is, do they sign him, or, there's going to be some interesting goalies going on waivers, and the Leafs don't have a high waiver priority here, but depending on what some of these teams do, there's Nico Dawes in New Jersey, there's Clay Stevenson in Washington, there's Michael DiPietro with the Boston Bruins. Unless some of these teams are going to keep three goalies, or they're going to do a surprise or make a move, there's three goalies this week at least going on waivers, Justin, that I think some teams are really going to be looking hard at. And Boston signed DiPietro to a 2-year deal to try to prevent against this. But Stevenson and Dawes, I think, too, are going to be guys teams are going to be taking a long look at. And I think these three teams involved are trying to figure out here, if they're going to do waivers, what's the easiest way to do it, or the best chance to sneak someone by.
But none of them have the experience of James Reimer. And we've seen in the past, Elliot, that whether it was Matt Murray or Martin Jones, that's been an important thing for the Leafs. So how realistic is it that they're going to sign Reimer, who had the most fun like in a long time at one practice with the Toronto Maple Leafs?
Well, Nick, I mean, how do you, if you're not grabbing one of these other guys, you're not going out and getting somebody else, how do you feel about, you were the one who laid it out, there's 3 back-to-backs in the first month, right? How comfortable are you going to be starting with Stolars and, say, Hildeby? I don't think they're going to be comfortable with that at all. So I would expect Reimer gets signed, or they go out and they go after some other goalie, like one of these guys